Welcome back to another episode of Lights Out and Let's Debrief. Today we're diving deep into the action of the Chinese Grand Prix. What went right, who dropped the ball, and what does this mean for the championship? Today we'll break it all down. I have a lot of opinions and not all of them are good. So grab your coffee or your tea and let's get started. Starting with the F1 notice board. On today's notice board we have a rather exciting topic, if I say so myself. Stray Kids, the K-pop group, recently dropped a mixtape, and now you're thinking, what does this have to do with Formula 1? So on one of the songs they mentioned Charles Leclerc. I just want to know who in that group is a Formula 1 fan. Come clean, please, come clean. I saw a lot of discourse on this lyric, people interpreting it wrong. Basically, Felix refers to Leclerc talking about Stray Kids' own journey. If I'm not wrong, they also have the same debut date. And like Leclerc, they did not immediately get into the spotlight after their debut, which seems crazy to think about because at the moment they're both really big names. Stray Kids gained popularity by focusing on their unique sound and self-producing their music. And FYI guys, their music is really good. So now is the time to hop on the Stray Kids wagon. I wanted to mention this because I am myself a really big Stray Kids fan, and for me this is like two worlds colliding. So also, fun fact, every time Stray Kids have put out a new album in recent years, a Mclaren has been on the top step that race weekend. So this week we raced in China and it was also a sprint weekend, and what that means is we only have one practice session on Friday and then we go straight into the shorter qualifying session for the sprint race, followed by the sprint race on Saturday, a fast 100-kilometer battle for extra points. Later that day we have a full qualifying session that sets the grid for the Grand Prix on Sunday, and that's it, there you have it, the sprint weekend format. Of course, if we're gonna talk about this weekend, we have to start with talking about Oscar Piastri, who is the big winner of this weekend. He had a great weekend. After the disaster of last week, he came back stronger than ever. P2 in the sprint, his first ever pole position, and not just that, he also smashed the lap record. And on Sunday he sealed the deal with a perfectly executed race to take his first Grand Prix victory of 2025. This win was well and truly deserved. Like I said in the last episode, I really think Oscar's gonna fight up there for the championship, so I'm super excited for this season to play out. His teammate Lando Norris seemed to have a much more difficult weekend. Qualified P6 for the sprint race and then made a small mistake during the sprint race that cost him a few places. You could see he was really fighting that car, something he even admitted in an interview. And on top of that, his tires were absolutely cooked. The Grand Prix itself went a little bit better. He qualified P3 and then pulled out that stunning overtake on George Russell in the first corner. He then got undercut by George, which was a great move on Russell's part. Only for him to take the position back later. And oh my god, I haven't even mentioned the brake issue. Seriously, what the hell was that? And controversial opinion, the way the team handled that. I'm no strategy expert, not telling him about a critical issue to keep him calm doesn't seem like the right call to me. Although I see a lot of people on Twitter making Mclaren to be like this evil entity. And although I don't agree with most things of they do, I think that's a bit overboard. I don't think they're actively trying to sabotage Norris. And also don't get me started on Lando's race engineer. He gets on my nerves from time to time. If you want him to hold position, then fine, but tell him straight away, because this later nonsense You can tell him to push, then to slow down, then to get into dirty air, and then to slow down again. At that point you're just cooking his tires, and I know Oscar was told to push too. That didn't seem to help, I guess. I don't know. I get not wanting them to race because of the brake pedal issue, and because a P2 is better than nothing. The whole situation just got so on my nerves. But you know, credits to Lando for keeping it in P2 despite everything. That's impressive. A lap longer and Russell probably would have gotten past him. And despite everything, the respect between Oscar and Lando is admirable, honestly, because that team can be a total circus at times. George Russell, P3 today, and what a season he's having. He's been seriously impressive, and if he can keep up this level of consistency, I wouldn't be surprised if he's right in the mix for the title battle too. Now let's talk about Red Bull, because let's all be honest, things aren't looking great. Verstappen, P3 in the sprint and P4 in the race after an overtake on Leclerc. Honestly, his whole attitude seems different this season. He doesn't seem to have that usual fight in him, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, any shape or form, but it's just an observation I made. But that's how you know that team is fucked. And then there is Lawson. Is that second Red Bull seat cursed? Did Daniel Ricciardo curse that second Red Bull seat when he left? P20 in both qualifying sessions, P14 in the sprint and P12 in the race after the disqualifications. He did say in a post-quali interview that he was still getting used to the car, but come on, it can't be that bad, right? Let's be real, it can't just be only the car, can it? It can't be that bad, right? And that brings me to Red Bull's sister team, V-Corp, who are potentially faster than Red Bull themselves, if they only didn't mess up this strategy. Everyone was going for a one-stop strategy. Why did they think a two-stop would work? This is the second race in a row where they've thrown away points because of strategy mistakes. And it's so frustrating because in qualifying they look so quick. They look, may I say, a bit quicker than Red Bull. Both in Australia and China their quali results were very good, but then they ruined it with poor pit stop calls. And Yuki also had front wing damage. His front wing decided to just fly off, so he had to pit another time, which really didn't help the case. On to the Ferraris now. Yeah, we have to talk about it. First up though, let's talk about Lewis Hamilton. What a mega performance, besides the obvious. Sprint pole and sprint win. Who said that he was washed? He becomes the first 40-year-old to take pole and a victory. He even held the lap record until Oscar took it away. He still got it. And Leclerc, despite a small collision with Lewis in the first few corners of the race, managed to complete the race with a broken front wing. Last week we were kinda questioning Ferrari's pace, but during the sprint we kinda saw glimpses of that pace from last year back. Then in the race it seemed gone again. And then they got both disqualified for being underweight, along with Pierre Gasly. And for Lewis, he got disqualified for a skid block breach or whatever that means. So yeah, not great for their championship cause, because now they're behind Williams. And how about Williams? Double point! Alex Albon had such a standout performance this weekend. He seemed feisty and full of confidence on the radio, and rightly so. He drove a mega race. P7 after disqualifications, and get this, he already scored as many points in 2 races as he did in the entirety of the 2024 season. After the Ferraris got disqualified, Carlos Sainz also scored his first point with Williams, which absolute cinema, if you ask me. That's F1 for you. The Williams, their cars look really good. I know Carlos is still kind of adjusting to the car and to the team, and I have no doubt he will get there. They're currently P4 in the championship. I know it's relatively early in the season and anything can happen, but what a turnaround from last year. Another team that has scored double points this weekend are Haas. After the absolute disaster that was last week, they came back stronger than ever and delivered a fantastic result. This is exactly the comeback they needed, and if they can keep up this momentum, I can see them being the top of the midfield. So now let's talk about the rookies for a bit. The three that stand out the most to me are Ollie Behrman, Isaac Hadjar and Kimi Antonelli. Isaac Hadjar, even with that terrible strategy, was still the second best Red Bull driver of the race. He seems seriously quick, and to me he just seems like a likable person. So you have a new supporter, Isaac Hadjar, and it's me. Then Ollie Behrman, P17 to P10 and then to P8. What a drive! The way he overtook some of the drivers was incredible, and the radio messages, the little chow after passing someone, took me out. Ollie,
ciao.
The guy has so much potential, so I'm excited for everything he's gonna bring. Kimi Antonelli is definitely also one to watch. He randomly got driver of the day, which even he seemed surprised about. The fans clearly see something in him, and I have a feeling we're gonna see much more from him in this season. And that brings us at the end of this debrief already. Oh. The way I see it, I think this might be a 6-way fight for the championship. What do you think? Leave it behind in the comments. Anyway, I'll see you in 2 weeks for the Japanese Grand Prix. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a lovely day. Bye!